You come back home from work after a long, hard day. I'm gonna play some killer, you think to yourself. It'll help you unwind for the day. Your first lobby gets fired up, and suddenly you're confronted by 4 Steve Harringtons with flashlights. There's only one reasonable thing to do, you think to yourself as you put an ebony Mori to teach the little Steves a lesson. You ready up and wait to see the offerings used, and you're shown something a little bit like this. What the f***, you think to yourself as a single RPD wins over 3 Toba landings somehow. I'm not dealing with this for my first game, I'll eat the matchmaking ban. See ya, nerds. Hello everyone, I'm Snoofu Fox, and today I'm asking the questions, do map offerings suck? Allow me to preface, if you like map offerings, more power to you. You can have your own opinion, I can have mine, and we can be civil about it. Map offerings have been in Dead by Daylight for a very long time. I can't find the exact date they were added. Some of the older maps used to have multiple versions of the map offerings, giving us slightly, considerably, and tremendously increased odds to get that map. These days, only the tremendously ones are obtainable. I do believe, however, that if you have one of the old ones, they can still be used. Tremendously is almost guaranteed, as I've personally never seen one fail. The wiki states that they can, so I'll assume that they can. I will say, map offerings aren't as doom and gloom as they used to be. With more map reworks, less and less survivor or killer sided maps exist, but they still can be used to skew the results in the favour of the party using them. While mostly used by a survivor, killers will sometimes use them too. A Scratch Mirror Myers, or hell any stealth killer, may prefer to take you to an indoor map or one with lots of line of sight breakers. Survivors may go for one that they have builds for, or are notoriously bad killer maps like Gideon Meat Plant, Old Haddonfield, or Bane Preschool. Regardless of which side uses them, they may be using it for a gameplay advantage to skew the odds in their favour, often with a build they're running. Dead Dog Saloon with Head On, and survivors just endlessly stunning the killer in the main building. Area Crows with Boil Over on the 2nd floor of the main building. Yes, I know there's a hookup there now, but sometimes it doesn't help. I had a match recently where a 4-stack did this to me and I could not hook anyone. Boil Over would knock me off, or I'd just get so stuck I'd never reach the hook upstairs, and even if I did, they always had someone sabotage it. Should we be allowed to really do this? It's not always just that specific game either. Sometimes you can get the same map twice in a row. Say you had a random map on that map, let's say Bane Preschool for example, and then the survivors send you there the next game. It gets stale. I will also say this, a lot of the times players will take map offerings just for the sake of enjoying the map, which isn't inherently wrong. My issue is when they're used for gameplay advantage. I don't believe this should be a possibility. Map offerings do not offer any real value to the game other than to skew the results on one side or the other. All they do is make it more and more frustrating to play. I've had days where almost every single match I play had a map offering. I'd just prefer them to be random. But Snoofu, just use a sacrificial ward, I hear you say. I could, and you're not necessarily wrong, but that has its own issues. They rarely appear in the blood web, and they still get used even if there was no map offering present. I'm also just losing out on blood point offerings, or Moris, or whatever else I want to use. They're really not a viable option at all. Not to mention, if a 4-man group really wants to go to a map, that'll trump a sacrificial ward anyway if they use all 4. So sacrificial wards are not the answer. So what is? Some people like the idea of changing map offerings to prevent maps instead. I don't believe this really helps either. Killers will have to make a choice between blood points or whatever else they want to use, or avoiding survivor-sided maps, just to get another one of them anyway, cause Sod's Law is a thing. And survivors get 4 chances to avoid killer-sided maps, which is still going to push the odds in favour of one side or the other. Honestly, I think we're better off just removing them at this point. Sure, most of the time they are completely harmless, just being used by a player wanting to go to a map they like. And I do understand this, but no other game I know of lets you do this. Granted, Dead by Daylight isn't like any other game. The closest in my memory is Halo 2 and Halo 3, and maybe some old Call of Duties, with map veto, but that's still not a choice. That's just saying no to what the game has offered you. Dead by Daylight could do this, but it wouldn't be a veto system, just because of the nature of 1v4. It could show everyone the map that you're going to in the pre-game lobby, so that way everyone can fairly build around it. I'm not a fan of the idea, but it may breathe life into some niche perks that would never really get used. At least balanced landing wouldn't be a dead perk for most games. Personally, I just like it how it is now, but just remove map offerings altogether. They always make me sigh. I have to think about what it could possibly be for, and as I mentioned, some cases, while extreme and not very often, could just prevent me from playing the game entirely. But what do you think? Are map offerings fine? Should we make map offerings not a damn near 100% chance? Remove them altogether? Let me know in the comments below. That's all from me today. Take care of each other out there, and be safe. Goodbye for now.